Hello and thanks for joining us. Today's guest has never been afraid to provoke, but his latest film, Yes, released in France this week after a thunderous Cannes premiere, is his boldest, most controversial yet. Shot in Israel during the war in Gaza and finished under rocket fire, Israeli filmmaker Nadav Lapid's new work is a furious satire about an artist commissioned to write a patriotic anthem in the wake of the 7th of October attacks.
תעשה את זה?
With some of the cast and crew quitting mid-shoot, Yes became as tense behind the camera as it is on screen. It's a disturbing, surreal and fearless portrait of a society spiralling into nationalism and denial. Nadav Lapid joins us in the studio. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Now, how would you describe the film? Is it satire? Is it a protest? Is it a tragedy?
We tend to describe it as a musical tragedy, since the film is not very far, especially in its first part, from a musical. But it's a musical which becomes more and more nightmarish. We move from wild, decadent parties and techno hits from the 90s to an anthem of a nationalistic anthem of genocide sang by kids. So I think the film is many things together. It's a love film, it's a political film, it's an existential film. Some might see it as a very surrealistic film. At the same time, I think that when we see what we see in the news, you have the feeling that the film went just directly out of the daily news.
The film, though, was actually conceived before October the 7th. How did the attack and what followed change the story in the film?
Yeah, so the film about the submission of an artist, about how sensitive souls are supposed to live in an unsensitive world, in an unsensitive reality, existed before the 7th of October. Back then I didn't know even if I would shot it in Israel, because with the producer we told ourselves actually it fits, this reality fits most of the globe. It's relevant for Los Angeles, London, Paris, the same way it's relevant from Tel Aviv. Then came the attack of the 7th of October and the war, which turned to be a massacre and genocide. And in a way, as an Israeli, I felt that I didn't have any choice. I mean, there are moments where the world dictates you or talks to you or shouts in your ears in 20,000 decibels. And it was evident for me, for others I think as well, that we are going towards a terrible vengeance, an apocalyptic vengeance. That we are going on full speed towards the worst that we've ever seen in this region. And in these moments, what other choice do you have?
You do live here in Paris, and you have for some years. You've always, throughout your work, remained deeply tied to Israel. You openly challenged your country in films like Synonyms, that explored identity and self-exile, In Our Head's Knee, which looked at censorship and nationalism. Yes really is confronting Israel in the wake of its most traumatic attack in recent history. Is there a cost to make a film like this?
Unlike, I think, places, I don't know, at least the way I imagine them, like Iran, etc., which are dictatorship, and the distinction between the regime and the people is easier. Israel is still, at least for Jews, a democracy, which means that it's hard to distinguish between Israeli government and Israeli and the Israelis, which means that on one hand, I never felt a danger to be thrown to jail like Iranian filmmakers. But the other hand, you're facing a crazy amount of rage from people, sometimes from the industry of cinema, from your milieu. In this film, dozens of technicians of cinema and dozens of actors refused to work in the film.
You did shoot in Israel, as you said, during active conflict. What was it like then, day to day, and how much of what we see, the smoke, the fear, how much of that is real?
Everything is real. I mean, we were shooting in the middle. Shooting in the middle of the war, it's like, in a way, it's like shooting in hell, and then you get closer and closer to Gaza, in the same way that the protagonist of the film is doing, and you go up on this hill named Love Hill, 600 meters more or less from Gaza, the closest you can get as an Israeli, if you're not armed, if you're not on a tank. And you see the smoke going up from the ruined buildings. You hear endless noise of explosions. You shoot a scene. You turn your camera. You see this horrific thing. You ask yourself in a certain moment, how many people died from the moment that we began shooting this scene till we ended the shooting. It's doing a film, which is, I think, that is extremely fictionalized, the eye of the cyclope in the middle of the horror.
You've said that submission is happiness is the film's motto, and the characters gradually descend into total, almost absurd submission. Is that a metaphor for something?
All my films were films of resistance, films of no. There's a moment where you feel that first of all, you feel that your no is totally inefficient. I mean, look where we are. I think that you could, in a way, say the same thing about American political cinema. I mean, people did films for years, and now they have Donald Trump as president. Also, the moment I have a son, a young son, and you ask yourself if you want to inherit your son this heritage of lost battles, of being a kind of Don Quixote, dreaming about an utopian reality that doesn't exist. Or, in a way, you want him to be integrated in life, to enjoy the beauty of life, to be part of society, to tell yes. But in our world, not only in Israel, you start by telling yes, or saying yes to the smells, to the taste, to love, to the beach. You're ending by saying yes to the worst things possible.
But there are Israelis in Tel Aviv who are calling for an end to the war in Gaza, who are demonstrating. The whole society isn't under submission, or is that what you think?
I always feel like someone was ruining the party when people ask me this question, because of course it's always great to believe that the problem is Netanyahu and the problem is the government. I think that the Israeli collective soul is a very sick soul today. I think that the problem goes much beyond specific political questions. I don't care about Netanyahu. I mean, I think that Netanyahu is a murderer, and I hope he will be judged in wherever he should be judged. But I think that Netanyahu and his government, they are only symptoms. They are the kind of monsters that are growing up in sick societies, in sick places. I think Israeli society needs the world, the whole universe, to put a huge mirror in its face, so it could see what it's committing and what it became.
One of the most arresting moments in the film is a character turning to camera after saying even the audience hates Israel. Let's take a look.
BBC, שונא ישראל. CNN,
שונא ישראל.
ניו יורק טיימס,
שונא ישראל.
מרכז פומפידו.
שונא ישראל. וואו, אני מלחין את זה.
אפילו הצופים בבית שונאים את ישראל. זו מלחמה.
Nadav, was that moment in the film, is it aimed at us, the audience, or is it the way criticism Israeli policy has been framed as anti-Semitism?
Both, I think both. I didn't have the slightest illusion. I know who is going to watch the movie. It's an audience which today hate Israel. I mean, if I would like it or not, and it's not a matter of liking. I'm Israeli. I think that you can't be in a way more Israeli than I am, and you know, it should be said, being Israeli is not a sin. I mean, you can figure out what's the level of my criticism towards this society, but I have at the same time a huge intimacy with this place. This place moves me in the deepest way possible.
Has the film been screened or acknowledged at all in Israel?
Actually, the film was screened in the Jerusalem Film Festival. The artistic director of Jerusalem Film Festival, it's an extremely courageous person. They watched the movie, they loved it. They not only screened it, but made a whole event around the film. Immediately, they got a letter from two ministers from the Israeli government calling them to cancel the screening, naming the film, I don't know, a collaboration with the enemy, mocking the Israeli heroism. Of course, these guys never watched the movie, but the screening took place. And the screening itself was, for me, was one of the most moving and unbelievable moments that I had in my cinematic career, not only with this film. I've never seen in myself such a gravity, I think, as I felt in the theater while the spectators were watching the moments where they play the new Israeli anthem and where they see kids standing on a roof and singing these terrible words of genocide, because I think that I felt that these people told themselves, it might have been also our children as well. How do we, because this is the question of the film, how can you be Israeli today? I don't think that Yes is a left-wing movie. I don't think that Yes is even in a simple way a political movie. It's a film about how politics penetrates everything, but it's a film about love, about sex, about authenticity, about trying to be yourself in this world and failing. And I think that Yes, as a film, in such a terrible, unbearable moment, I think that it's a film to shake some souls.
Okay, Nadav Lapid, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Yes is out in France this week. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
בכנ"ל 25 מעלות בסוף נובמבר. הירקות עם טעם, טישרט בחורף, לחייך לאנשים ולהיכנע לחיוך.